Jake Alge. Jake, a couple buzzwords in 2025 were democratization and literacy, right? And so AI literacy, I think of in my company as all of our employees understanding the basics of how these things work, how to safely use them and not use them, a realistic or pragmatic a vision of what they can and cannot do, and then what questions to ask and who to go to for more. What is data literacy and why is it important today?
Yeah, I think data literacy is more important now than ever. I think we touched on earlier how AI can be a sort of black box, whether you think it can do anything or you are very skeptical of it. So I think because AI is now so it's widespread, along with just big data in general, that's why it's more important now than ever. Data literacy, kind of looking at it from both an individual or business level, I think individually it's kind of meat and potatoes, understanding what is data. We've kind of already touched on that, like how it can be collected, how it's stored, reading data, just kind of the basics of looking into it and being able to extract some sort of insight from it, maybe sorting data, ordering data, all that sort of thing, and mainly understanding its context within your business, where it's coming from, what its scope is. Maybe it's only data on a certain subset of people, having the means and tools to uncover that in a business. For a whole business, you can apply data literacy, making sure everyone's on the same page with data. We talked about semantic layering as one kind of way to ensure that is the case, that everyone in a business is on the same page with their data. And I also think everyone is meeting the standards of like data governance. Maybe you have some sort of protocols for collecting data or some sort of no-nos, like, hey, in my job, I can't send people's personally identifiable information without encrypting it, for instance, I think those could be like a sort of business-wide, is your business data literate or not type of question.
Yeah, and I'm going to give a couple of examples of how you could really shit the bed. I hate to use that term, but I won't name the companies. But we're looking at, and I've discussed this with you. We're looking at moving maybe to more of a cloud data architecture, like a neo database architecture, in order to enable AI. Because we're a regulated industry, it seems smarter to bring the AI to our data than to send our data out. And as I've had conversations with the salespeople, they've told me all the wonderful things. But during the break, I did a real deep dive. Okay, and so one of them charges you every query that you ask. So a query, just for those out there who are lay people, like, query is a question. If you're asking, first off, they say that you can use large language models within their platforms to ask questions of the data, right? And so that's only 45 to 50% correct currently. I found that out through doing some research. Like that's only half baked. In a year it might be fully baked, but right now that's not 100% useful. So you still need to have like legitimate queries and regular QAs. And then the other one is every time you run a query in there, even if it's a 3-second query, it's a minimum 60 seconds query that it charges you for. So if you have a bunch of people asking like 10 3-second questions, rather than getting charged for the 30 seconds worth of questions that they ask, you get charged for 600 seconds worth of questions. So that could add up really fast, right? And so if you don't have a handle on like what you're looking for, you could really get suckered into believing that just like large language models, that the technology can do things that it can't, and B, that it's going to be less expensive than what you actually end up paying.
Yeah, 100%. That's something everyone needs to be on the same page on, and that's, like you said, it's another one of those sort of black box things, adopting AI, where, good thing you found that out. If you speed run into it and kind of are plugging and playing it and don't have your data infrastructure set up or clean data, you're going to be putting that, I think it was 60 cents a pop on, bad data, and, you're not really extracting anything from that.
Yeah, so it's a marathon, not a race. Is that kind of what I'm hearing you saying? Like, identify what you're trying to solve and make sure that you maybe find a use case and start exploring something before you just jump into the deep end and start spending a bunch of money.
Yeah, almost any data related case scenario or like implementation is within context. The context of your business, you can know that best.
Boom.